This is ACT Math Prep video number 3. You will have 6 questions in your 8 minutes, and all are on the topic of coordinate geometry. There are fewer questions in this one, you'll note, but the geometry ones take a little longer because you generally need to draw a sketch and or recall a formula or theorem. This problem set will start at number 36. So do 36 to 38, 40, 42, and 43. At this point, somebody in the room should set a timer on their phone for 8 minutes. This video should then be paused. At the conclusion of the 8 minutes, start the video up again to see the solutions. Number 36. We have 2 people both starting at the point 3, 4. Sometimes you want to draw a sketch. Make it quick though. One of them walks 6 units north. So here we have Marta at 3, 4. She's going to go 6 units north, which is up. She's going to go up 6, landing at 10. And 3 units west. West is to the left. And if we go 3 to the left of 3, we'll be at 0. So she's going to be up at 0, 10. And that's Marta. Because I don't have graph paper, it's just easiest to calculate those coordinates by hand. I've got Janine going 5 units south. So she's going to be going down 5, putting her at -1. And she's going 8 miles to the east, which is to the right. So 8 to the right, we'll put her at 11, -1. So somewhere at around 11, -1, we'll put a dot that represents Janine's position. And the question was, how far apart are they? So I'm looking for the distance between 0, 10 and 11, -1. There's 2 ways to do this. One is if you remember your distance formula, you can launch into that. The distance formula says that the distance between any 2 points in the coordinate plane is the square root of the distance between the x's, or you could say x2 minus x1 squared plus the distance between the y's. You can either do 10 minus -1 or -1 minus 10, because you're going to be squaring it, and squaring always makes a positive. Or you can even just think they're 11 apart, but I'll be very formal with this. You're supposed to do y2 minus y1 squared. But it's really just how far apart are the x's? They're 11 apart. How far apart are the y's? They are 11 apart. Again, you might go like that. Doesn't matter though, because 11 squared and -11 squared yield the same result. So I have the square root of 11 squared plus 11 squared. And here's a little trick with this one. Because those are the same, instead of calculating 11 squared and calculating it again and adding it up and getting 242 and then noticing it's not over here and then, going about simplifying it, you might want to notice that you have 2 11 squareds. One of them plus another of them is 2 of them. And the square root of 11 squared is just 11. So that makes it a little easier to simplify if you actually leave it in that form. The answer would be 11 root 2. Now let's suppose you forgot how to simplify. So let's suppose you said, well, that's 121 plus 121, and you get 242, but then you're like, oh, crud, I forgot how to simplify that. What you could do, but again, time consuming, if you have, the more you have to do, the less time you're going to have to finish the test. But you could change this to a decimal and see which one of these has the same decimal value. So that's an option as well. Another option that would have been the quickest is to notice that this is actually the hypotenuse of a right triangle that's 11 by 11. And you could do a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and you'll get the exact same result. Number 37. These are 3 vertices of a rectangle, and it says, what could the 4th one be? Now this is one where, again, I always keep my eye on those answers, because a lot of times just looking at the answers outrules stuff. Let's go put these dots on here. 0, 1 would be right about here. That's not going to make a rectangle. Sides have to be, opposite sides have to be congruent and parallel. 0, -1, obviously out. 3, 2 is going to be like in here somewhere, obviously out. -1, -4 is down here somewhere, obviously out. -1, 2 is really the only one that even looks like it could be the answer. Oops, sorry, -1, 2. Put it over there. So this is the only one possible. So no need to do any fancy math. Let's use some common sense. Number 38. We've got a town located between Martinville is located at 7, -3, and we have Geotown at -110, and I have to get exactly halfway between the two cities. The intent here is that you remember your midpoint formula, but really you just need to know how to get between two numbers. You can do it on a number line, you can do it on a grid, you can think, well, to get between two numbers, if I can't just see that it's 3, I add them, and I average them really. I add them and divide by 2. So that's the easiest thing to do, is let's go add these. 7 plus negative 1 is 6, and divide by 2. So halfway between those x values is 3. Or maybe you could just see that. And there's only 1 with a 3 as the x-coordinate, so I really don't need to do the y, but I'm going to. Negative 3 plus 10 divided by 2 would give you 7 over 2, or 3.5. But the intent, I believe, is to remember the midpoint, and the midpoint formula explicitly states that to get in the middle, you do x1 plus x2, cut it in half, y1 plus y2, cut in half. You average the x's, average the y's to get right in the middle. Number 40. You're looking for the equation of a circle. So first thing you need to do is, that's one that kind of needs to get memorized. These should trigger your memory though, which is nice. Again, I always say when you're taking a multiple choice test to glance at those answers and kind of keep them in the back of your brain so and let them help you. Let the fact that you're looking at one of the answers help you. But what the formula for a circle is if it's at centered HK, let's suppose that's the center. And again, by HK, I just mean like 4, 1, 2, 5, they're variables. That's the center. Equation for a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to the radius squared. So that needs to be memorized. So let's go apply that to this question. My circle is centered at negative 2, 5 on the coordinate plane. Negative 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it passes through the point 1, 5. So 1 over 5 up. My circle is going to go around like this. The circle's equation is dependent upon its center, which I know, and its radius, which I'm going to find. So I have to do x minus, remember this is when it's centered at h comma k, mine is centered at negative 2 comma 5, so I do x minus a negative 2, which is x plus 2 squared, plus y minus 5 squared. Notice these are just opposites. When you subtract, you end up taking the opposite, so minus the negative and then minus positive, is equal to the radius squared. Now what's the radius? If you drew a sketch, you can see it, because this was at negative 2, 5, and this is at 1, 5, which means this length here from negative 2 to positive 1 is 3. Well, what's wrong with this answer? And I go circle letter C, and I think I did it right. It's equal to the radius squared, so make sure it has to be equal to 9. That gives me an answer of E. Now here's another method too that you might want to use. Go back on here. Suppose you didn't draw a sketch and you were just working quickly. When they tell you that 1, 5 is on the circle, it means it works in its equation. So you could also put a 1 in for x, a 5 in for y, and you get 1 plus 2 is 3 squared plus 0 squared, which equals 9. And that would tell you that you have to have a 9 right here as well. So either method will work. And number 42. A, B, C, and D are collinear. What that means is they all lie on the same line. So I'm going to have some collinear points. Where B, technically, go like that, but we go along. But where B is between A and C, so let's say this is A, this is C, not necessarily drawn to scale, I'm just trying to get my orientation correct here. A is between B and C. I mean, B is between A and C is between B and D. So there's my picture, kind of goes in alphabetical order as we would think it should. The distance from A to C is 6. So we can go up here and bracket that off. A to C is 6. The distance from B to D is 7. that on here. And from B to C is 4. Now, using the fact that this whole way is 6, I also know that this has to be 2, because AB plus BC has to equal 6. So the question is, what's the distance from A all the way to D? Well, I don't even need to find C to D because it's 2 from here to here, and then 7 all the way here. So 2 plus 7 yields 9. Answer A. And last, for this one, we're going to use a property from geometry that says that when you have this situation, we have what are called similar triangles, which I actually have 3 triangles up here, a big one, a medium one, and a little one. And they're all right triangles, and their sides are all proportional. If one leg of ABC is 5, it says, what is the length of ABC's hypotenuse? So this is where my question lies. What is the length of the hypotenuse? Well, my problem is I don't know the bottom of the big one right now. I also don't know this one. So I have to use that little one to get me going. And what I'm going to do is set up a proportion where I set corresponding sides equal. So let's find some corresponding sides here. I have the short side on this red triangle, which is 3. And I also know the short side of this blue triangle, which is 4. So I'm going to say short side to short side, red to blue, has to be equal to, and again, I don't really care what this is. My question mark's over here, so I'm going to go put an X over here. I'm looking for the long side of the blue. Do I know the long side of the short one? And I do. It's 4. 4 is the long side of the red triangle. So I'm doing short to short is long to long. And then I'm going to solve that. 3x equals 16. X is equal to 16 thirds. But I'm going to be careful that I don't go circle that. I like to put a question mark here. I didn't find question mark. I found X. So I need to take X and add 3 to it. So I need to do 16 over 3 plus 3. If I am going to stay off my calculator, 9 thirds would be 3, the common denominator, and that gives me 25 thirds. And that concludes this video. Have a good one.